Hello everyone and welcome back to another average review. And today we've got yet another JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Super Action statue review. In fact, we're reviewing another figure of one of the main JoJo's, specifically Jotaro Kujo and his Stand Star Platinum from Part 4 Diamond is Unbreakable. So looking at the boxes, they're a pretty standard Super Action statue fare. Jotaro is in a slightly wider, more green box, and Star Platinum is in a thinner blue one. On the side, we can see some pretty nice, promo shots of the figures. And on the back, we see more promo shots, and also all the different accessories these two come with. So yeah, overall, like I've said in my previous 3 Super Action statue reviews, I really like the boxes of this series. They're clean, they're premium looking, and they show you just about everything that comes with the figure. Which are all very good things for a box to have, but if we're being honest here, we aren't here to look at the fancy boxes. Let's get Jotaro and Star Platinum out of their packaging and start off with the sculpting and paintwork. Alright, getting these two out of the box, and I think it's appropriate that we start off with the stand user and easily one of the most iconic characters in the entire JoJo series, if not the most iconic, Jotaro Kujo, and of course, his Part 4 design. And they've done a pretty dang good job capturing his design. His face looks pretty dang nice. I mean, that's a good stoic head sculpt. His hat is very good. I like how he's still got the little Lucky Land communication symbol there on that little gold plate. And they did a pretty dang good job capturing Jotaro's weird hat-hair fusion. I don't even know what to call it. Looking down into his actual shirt, we see that Lucky Land logo once again. This little strap across the chest, which does remind me of a similar aspect of his old Part 3 design. I love all the intricate details on the little vest underneath his, trench coat, and the white trench coat looks pretty dang nice. I mean, there is this part right here that really breaks up the sculpt and doesn't look the best, but it has a purpose, believe me. I like the little detail on his purple and yellow cuffs right there, and he's got 2 belts, because I mean, 1 belt makes you badass. 2 belts? That makes you Jotaro Kujo level badass. He's also got this little pouch right here attached to one of his belts, because, I mean, belts make you cool, pouches make you even cooler, and he's got his pretty baggy pants, which look very nice. I like all the details on his shoes, with the laces and the little tops, along with his soles right here. And, yeah, overall, not much on the back, but, I mean, this is a pretty dang nice looking Jotaro figure, and it's one of my favorite designs for him. I mean, the stark white outfit with tiny bits of black calling back to his Part 3 design just looks amazing. But come on, it's not only Jotaro that got a bit of a makeover from Part 3, it's also Star Platinum, who's a lot more blue than his currently standard purple color scheme. But I mean, he's still got plenty of purple right here. I really like the way Star Platinum's hair looks in Part 4. I mean, it looks like he's going to, the same barber as, Goku or Vegeta, and I mean, you gotta give that barber a raise, because this hairstyle does look fantastic for super strong characters like this. I like the way his face looks. It doesn't look as, like a regular realistic human like Jotaro, but I mean, this is a stand. This ain't a regular looking person. I love the metallic gold they use for the shoulder pads and the little zigzags running down his chest. And that's to say nothing of the purple, blue, and white color scheme. I like the scarf, the gloves with all these little golden spears on them, along with this little gold wristband. I like the silver belt along with the white loincloth, that element still remaining. And I like how he does have some gold running down the sides of his thighs. His knee pads look nice. I like the boots and the fact that they got some orange on them. more of the same details on the back, like the little zigzags running down his back and his elbow pads. So yeah, overall Star Platinum is fantastic. A super good paint job, super big and muscular, as I mean, it's Star Platinum, and he pairs super nicely with Jotaro. Which should be obvious considering they're, stand-in user, but still. But come on, we can't just be talking about sculpt, we also gotta talk about the articulation on these guys. In terms of neck articulation, they have a ball joint on a disc hinge at the base of the skull, and I assume a ball joint at the base of the neck. Unfortunately, because of Jotaro's trench coat and long hair, he can't look up very high. The same does go for Star Platinum, but it does get to look up a bit higher than Jotaro does. Granted, they're a lot better at burying the chin, especially Star Platinum. And they can both turn their heads around. And thanks to the neck articulation, tilt their heads side to side. Now, Star Platinum actually has a couple joints that Jotaro doesn't. One of them being his shoulder pads, which can actually lift up and rotate around so that they don't get in the way of his shoulders raising and turning around. But that's not all, since he's also got butterfly joints which let him move his arms forward and backwards a bit. It's not much, but it definitely adds to the articulation on this guy. And that shoulder pad articulation was definitely necessary, since it lets Star Platinum raise its arms a bit above 90 degrees, while Jotaro's arms can only raise a bit below 90 degrees. They can also both spin their arms around. Although with Jotaro, you gotta remember to also rotate this little shoulder piece right here so that his arms can actually move all the way around. Oh, did you think I was done talking about joints Star Platinum has, but Jotaro doesn't? Well, I'm not, because he's also got bicep swivel that lets you turn his biceps all the way around, which definitely helps with, a muscular stand like this that's always getting into, dynamic action poses. But I really don't see why they don't just give this to their regular, non-stand figures more often. I don't know, it's kind of weird. But they both feature double jointed elbows that both get pretty dang deep bends, which is impressive and I'm glad to see. Also, the actual elbow joints do get some rotation at both ends, which is also pretty dang good for posing, and does kind of make up for the lack of a bicep joint on Jotaro. Moving on to the wrists, though, and they can spin around and hinge in any direction. Now, moving on to the torso articulation, and that's another difference between these two in terms of articulation. Much like the world, Star Platinum has a diaphragm joint and a waist swivel, just like Jotaro, but also has a waist crunch right here, which will hopefully add a fair bit to this guy's hunch forward. Unfortunately, though, neither of them really get much hunch forward, which is disappointing. Especially with Jotaro, this is as much hunch forward as I could get with him. Luckily, the arch back for Star Platinum is a lot better, although this time, I do understand why Jotaro doesn't have much arch back. It's because of that pretty dang bulky trench coat. But at the diaphragm joint, they also get a bit of tilt side to side, and rotation at both the diaphragm and ball-jointed waist. Although Jotaro does have one point of articulation that Star Platinum doesn't, and it has to do with his trench coat. It has this hinge right here, which lets his trench coat lift, which is pretty dang cool to see. Honestly, this is probably the second best option for action figure trench coats that aren't just, well, obviously cloth goods trench coats. And I really think, Marvel Legends trench coats could learn a thing or two from this Jotaro. Moving on to the leg articulation, and they both have ball-jointed hips, which lets Jotaro kick a bit under 90 degrees, but I mean, still pretty good for the bagginess and level of details on his pants and belts. But Star Platinum manages to get a 90-degree kick despite the loincloth getting a bit in the way. I should mention, I did have to heat up the hip joints even more than I already did in hot water, just because the hips were still being stubborn. Remember, whenever you get figures like this, remember to heat them up in hot water before you actually start messing with them. It's a lifesaver, believe me. The ball-jointed hips also let them do the splits, with Jotaro kind of just getting an alright split, but Star Platinum gets a near-perfect split, which is pretty impressive. Jotaro also has rotation at the hips. Same for Star Platinum. They also both have double jointed knees, which lets Jotaro kick back a bit above 90 degrees. And lets Star Platinum get a really dang good kick back. I should also mention the top knee joint actually has rotation. Not the bottom one, though. I still don't get what's up with that. Moving down to the bottom, though, in Jotaro's ankles that can hinge backwards and forwards, pivot side to side, turn around, and have toe articulation. And of course, Star Platinum gets the exact same as its user. So overall, both Part 4 Jotaro and Star Platinum have pretty dang good articulation. Obviously, Star Platinum's is a lot better than Jotaro's due to simply having more joints and also having a lot less extraneous details like Jotaro's trench coat, but I'd say Jotaro's articulation is still more than serviceable, although the hunch forward on both of these guys definitely leaves a lot to be desired. Moving on to the figure comparisons, and of course for our standard male and female comparisons for this channel, we have the Marvel Legends Renew Your Vows Spider-Man and Spinneret. Moving on to actual JoJo figures though, and of course, we have to bring out the Part 3 versions of Dio and the World, since I mean, Jotaro's entire goal in Part 3 was to take down Dio, and they don't scale too bad. The World scales perfectly fine with Star Platinum, though. No complaints there. For a comparison between Jotaro and Dio's, well, most important son, we have Giorno Giovanna from Part 5 in his black outfit. I will say, though, it's an incredibly unlikely and kind of pointless release, but I kind of wish Medicos made a figure of Jotaro's Part 5 design that appeared in, like, the only 2 scenes that Jotaro was in. Because honestly, that's probably my actual favorite Jotaro design. And it's the one that unfortunately appeared the least. Ain't that a shame? But for a comparison with the guy who really hates Dio's most important son, we have Diavolo, who was also my first JoJo Super Action statue figure. But rounding out the figure comparisons, as is tradition, here's the Super Action statue Part 4 Jotaro and Star Platinum with Hitmonkey and Goliath. Alright, with the figure comparisons out of the way, now's the time to move on to the fun part, the accessories. Alright. Starting off with Jotaro, in terms of hands, he comes pre-packed with, of course, the tried and true pair of fists, a pair of relaxed open hands, a right-handed pointing hand, and a right-handed two-fingered gesture hand for when he wants to call someone over, or, you know, give some finger guns. Either that or he's about to call out Starfinger for the first time in like a decade. He also comes with this pair of hands that have no fingers, just a peg in the middle, which look very weird, but they actually have a pretty dang cool purpose. You see, the trench coat has these two pegs in the back, and you can plug those hands in to make it look like he's got both hands in his pockets, which is pretty dang cool. He also comes with a very, very interesting accessory, being an alternate hat, this being the one from the hunting arc where he's got the dolphin and the little sun on his hat, and what you do is you can actually remove the hat from his head, which makes for a very, very disturbing image. I didn't know Jotaro shaved his head, but you can place this hat directly on his head, and boom. Ever so slightly different look for Jotaro, which is pretty dang neat. Albeit, I think this hat might sit a little too high on his head compared to the other one. He also comes with an alternate sneering head, which in my opinion just doesn't look different enough from the stoic head. Although I will say, the alternate hat does look better on this head than the more stoic head. His final actual accessory is this backpack. I don't remember exactly where this is from in part 4. If I recall, it's from like the very beginning of the part when Jotaro is just arriving in Morio, but either way, this backpack actually looks really, really good. It has such realistic looking leather texture thanks to the sculpting and the paint, and honestly, you can give this to just about any figure and it'll look fine. They have the buckles painted on, the straps look really nice. I mean, this is a pretty dang cool accessory for just like a regular backpack. And of course, as is standard for the Super Action statue line, Jotaro comes with a stand that can plug into his back. It's also got 3 arms, which lets you adjust, the height and angle. I'd also like to mention now, just ahead of time, Star Platinum also has one of these, so I don't have to mention it later. Speaking of Star Platinum, let's move on to that figure's accessories. Starting off with the alternate hands, and of course Star Platinum comes with a pair of fists, which are definitely going to be the main thing you're going to be displaying Star Platinum with. Let's be honest here. Star Platinum also comes with a pair of open hands, and two pointing hands. That's another win Star Platinum has against the world. Star Platinum also comes with a left-handed accessory holding hand and a piece of wood to put in that hand as a reference to when Star Platinum lit a fire to distract Sheer Heart Attack during, the Sheer Heart Attack fight, which is a pretty dang cool accessory. I wish the world came with, a specific reference to the Jotaro versus Dio fight like this. Star Platinum also comes with an alternate yelling head, which I might like even more than the stoic head. It just feels a lot more dynamic and fitting for, fight scenes, which I mean, it's Star Platinum. Of course it's gonna get in fights. So yeah, overall, I'm pretty dang happy with the accessories that come with both Jotaro and Star Platinum. My only real complaints are that I wish Jotaro came with a slightly more expressive head than the sneering one he currently comes with, and honestly, I'm pretty happy with Star Platinum's accessories, but I do kinda wish that it came with a hand flinging one of the steel balls from the hunting arc with, the rat. I know the Super Action statue Crazy Diamond comes with a hand that has that, so I don't know, it would be nice to have one for Star Platinum too, so, you could kind of have a match and sort of recreate part of that arc. But honestly, my complaints are minimal. In terms of the pricing, each of them costs between, I'd say, $50 and $55 retail. Depending on where you get them on like a third-party site, you might find them for more or less. Probably less, though. From what I've seen, Part 4 Jotaro is on the cheaper side of things. You can maybe find him for $45. But either way, if you're importing them, they're gonna be a lot more expensive than that due to all the fees and whatnot. But overall, in terms of my final thoughts, I really like these two. The sculpting, paintwork, most of the articulation, the accessories, and the fact that they scale pretty decently with other figures. Although they probably scale better with figures in Part 4, which I don't have any other figures from. But either way, I really like these guys, and I'm pretty dang glad I chose these as the figures I'd get of Jotaro and Star Platinum. But they ain't too perfect. The hunch forward on both of them is pretty dang bad. And like I said, Jotaro's alternate head isn't as expressive as I'd like it to be. It's not bad, I just kinda wish it were a bit better. But overall, these are pretty dang cool figures, and I'm really happy I got them. They're easily some of my favorite figures in the line, which does make sense, I don't have that many. Still, they're pretty dang good. I'm gonna give both Part 4 Jotaro and Star Platinum a 9 out of 10. If they both had a better overall hunch forward and Jotaro maybe came with another head that was, just like a straight up yelling head like Star Platinum, then honestly, they'd probably get a 10. These are really, really good figures. But hey, what are your thoughts on them? Also, tell me in the comments, what's your favorite design for Jotaro? Is it his regular Part 3 design, one of the 2 designs from Part 4, his very brief Part 5 design, or the design from Part 6? Tell me your thoughts. But hey, if you've made it this far into the video, well, first of all, thank you very much for watching, and second of all, have a great day, 'cause you deserve it. Bye-bye!